the retail store to the drive-thru, are connecting digital and physical experiences to actually deliver great customer experiences. So as many of you know, this is such a hot topic, something that marketing folks are super focused on right now. So Andrea, if you could come to the stage and tell us more about it and welcome your guests.
Hello, everyone. We're very excited for this afternoon session. So I would love to introduce my guests, starting with Deepak Chandak, Senior Director of Product Manager at Tapestry, and Ali Jackson, Principal Team Leader at Chick-fil-A. So thank you both for being here today. We're so excited to hear about the projects and innovations that you have been both working on. But before we get started, I would love to start with the introductions. Can you please both introduce yourselves and quickly tell us about where you work and what you do for your companies?
Sure. So hey y'all, my name's Ali Jackson. I serve on the treasury team at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is a quick service restaurant chain based in Atlanta, Georgia. We've got about 3,000 restaurants across the country and a growing international presence. And I lead our customer payments team, so we're responsible for enterprise payment strategy, payment operations, analytics, and fraud.
Great. And Deepak?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deepak Chandak. I'm Senior Director, Omnichannel Product and Experiences at Tapestry. Tapestry is a house of brands with iconic brands like Coach, Kate Spade, and Stuart Weitzman. I've been with Tapestry for over 4 years and in digital/product space for almost 18 years now.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much for being here. So in recent conversations that we've had with many of our customers, one of the common threads that we've heard is their desire and conscious effort to build stronger relationships with their own customer base, regardless of where the customer may want to be and how they want to interact with their brands. So Ali, I would love to learn a little bit more about your journey in building these strong relationships with customers and how has your approach evolved over time?
Yeah, absolutely. So growing strong relationships with customers is really at the heart of Chick-fil-A. And this dates back all the way to 1946 when our founder, Truett Cathy, opened up his first restaurant, the Dwarf Grill. And the Dwarf Grill was positioned right by the Atlanta airport. It was across the street from a 4 car assembly plants. And Truett really was invested in his customers, and he was opened up 24/6. That way he could serve and feed those customers who were traveling at odd hours through the night and early in the morning. That way he could serve customers who were working at the plant for that night shift. So really, growing relationships has been rooted in our business from day one. And, flash forward to now, my team is really invested in the customer digital experience. So back in June of 2016, we launched the Chick-fil-A app. And at the time, we led with the payment method that, you loaded funds to the digital gift card. As you dined with us, you earned progress toward these predetermined treats. And honestly, the way that you could earn those treats was a little bit vague. And so we went through a season where we really leaned in and listened to customer feedback and tried to understand what our customers wanted from our brand, from our app. And we ended up doing an overhaul of our loyalty program. And so now we've got a much more robust program. We've got a very clear spend to point ratio. Customers can accumulate points and spend them for the menu items that they love most. We've added additional payment methods. You talked about meeting customers where they are. We've added different fulfillment options. We're diving into Chick-fil-A delivery. We partner with third-party delivery companies. That way customers can still order through the app, gain those loyalty points, but get Chick-fil-A delivered for them a little bit more conveniently. So it's really, leaning into customers, listening to their feedback. That's really driven the evolution of our app and our loyalty program.
It's fantastic to hear that you have a way, or you've evolved from how your customers are interacting with your program, how they're gaining value in the program, and also how they have all these different ways to choose how to redeem out of the program. Deepak, as you mentioned already, Tapestry is made up of a number of incredible brands. And I know from our conversations that you had a big focus on strengthening your omni-channel approach across all the touch points. So can you share a little bit more of how you're thinking about that with us today, and what are the considerations that you're making as part of the process?
Absolutely. And before I speak about my experience as a trade professional, we're all consumers ourselves. We are all shoppers. We go around, we are shopping different brands and different merchants all the time, and we are becoming more and more omni-channel shoppers. We don't exclusively shop online, or we don't exclusively shop in stores, or some of us maybe even calling in customer service and having them place orders for us, be it travel, be it any other industry. So what is that we're seeing is the lines are becoming more and more blurry between digital and physical space. And the research data shows that almost 3 out of 4 consumers are now actually having an omni-channel journey, where they're either starting online and then going in store and shopping, or seeing something in store while they're walking along and then coming online and shopping. So the touch points, as well as the place of where the transaction actually happens, is becoming very, very merged between the spaces. So what does omnichannel mean? For me specifically, it's about giving that seamless experience to the consumer wherever they are to get to the commercial outcomes that we want to get. And as you would see, the different channels have different advantages. If you're online, you'd probably find that the merchant may be greeting you back when you're coming back on the site and allowing you to start from where you left off. While you go in store, you may have a wonderful human experience because the associate is there to greet you or to help you, and you can interact with the product. So my job essentially is to figure out, how do I merge best of the both worlds or the other worlds and provide that seamless experience to the consumer?
That's fantastic to hear. So it's so important for I'm sure everybody here in the room can appreciate the fact that omnichannel is now the normal, right? It's how majority of the customers are interacting with many brands, and the fact that you're considering how to bring the best out of each channel and making sure that the connection across those channels is very seamless for the consumer.
Exactly. Putting the customer at the center of everything.
So even though you're both coming from very different industries, we can see that there's this similar thread in what you were describing, which is increasing your share of wallet, and ultimately you're supporting profitable growth by building these strong relationships. I would love to understand a little bit more from your perspective and the way that your approach is happening. What are some of the challenges that you face in terms of being able to provide those great experiences where your customers are? Maybe we'll start with you, Deepak.
To start with, essentially is understanding what is the need. And to be honest, to understand the customer needs when it comes to omnichannel experiences, even online, it's to understand what our product is, what is our offering to them, and why is that they're coming to us, what is so unique, and how can we solve their need, and what is the experience that we can provide them. And it all starts with, I think, employees. If we understand our employees, what is their need, and we serve them, they can actually move mountains and help solve the problems that the customers have.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Relying on the extension of your representation through your employees is a great way to reach your customers.
Exactly.
That's great. Ali, from your point of view?
Yeah, that's great. We're definitely aligned with those goals. We want to increase those number of occurrences that our customers are spending with us, and profitability is really important, and in that customer lifetime value. And so when we think about tackling these goals, one of the challenges that comes to mind is about protecting that customer experience and specifically creating a trusted customer digital experience. So the challenges that come with that are definitely around, fraud and abuse and account takeovers, card testing and the like, customer recovery efforts. So, those are all items that are very top of mind for us, and leaning on partners like Forder to help us solve for that has been very, very important to our customer experience.
I love to hear that. So I think that brings me to my next question, which is the other side of challenges. When we're doing things right and we're very customer focused, we have good outcomes, right? So Ali, you started walking us through the path of what a good outcome looks like for you. Deepak, I would love to know from your point of view, when you're thinking about omnichannel perspective, how do you measure that success? What's success to you from this interconnected journey that you're focusing on?
That's a very deep question. And
maybe we can start with
and it challenges us. So it's a right question, because that's what keeps us moving all the time. And success, right? I mean, for a for-profit enterprise is always going to be about, what is the bottom line that we are bringing in, or how are we increasing our top line? How do we get about doing that? We can throw, several features. We can throw several other things, and there would be like KPIs associated with it. You can have kitchen sink of like all the different types of KPIs. But in the end, it's more about are we really bringing in the top line and the bottom line? That's what the street demands. That's what you will have your investors demand in terms of private setup. I think the deeper question is, how are we going to achieve that? And how do we measure towards it? And for me, it's more about how are we going to drive the engagement, whether it is with our employees or with our customers. And how are we going to not just drive that engagement, but lead to some level of satisfaction? And how do we measure for that is going to be very important. And because I've been in retail space forever, I see only one retailer who's been able to do that consistently. And we were talking, backstage, for me, it's Costco. Frankly speaking, right? They put employees at the center of everything, and they're driving a high level of engagement. When I walk their stores and, I'm just talking and interacting with the associate on the floor, they've been working there for like 20 years, 25 years. It's kind of unheard of in retail space where there is a very high degree of churn, but they've been able to keep their employees engaged. They've been able to really drive through that engagement, the level of satisfaction across their customer base as well.
Yeah. As a Costco customer myself, I did not know the long tenure that customers had until we talked about it in the back of the stage. So I think that was super interesting and very insightful. So it's really interesting to see that even though obviously your top KPIs, if I'm understanding correctly, obviously are the things that maybe the street demands. So top line revenue, like bottom line and profit, there's also these qualitative factors that you're looking into that you're seeking to influence, right? And if you're doing your job of connecting the experiences right, then you also get this empowerment of employees.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think that brings me to a broader topic that is not only about employees, but also partners and franchisees, right? So earlier today, we learned about the importance of delivering value to partners. We heard Hilton speaking this morning, and Ali, I understand, obviously Chick-fil-A also works on a franchisee model. So I would love to understand more. When it comes to loyalty, how do you ensure that your franchisees are having a great experience as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we really anchor in such a strong relationship between our support center and our owner-operators or our franchisees. So, customer loyalty, again, extremely important to us. And, we partner very closely with our operators, and we're able to offer solutions like the Chick-fil-A app that spans the footprint of our restaurants where customers can engage with us, but we really do lean on the expertise of our owner-operators to further engage the customers. They know them really well. They know how to create loyalty best. And so they know their market and they know their customer base. And so we work really closely with them on creating additional events and new occasions to care and how to engage their community. And so that has been really successful and gone really well. And so it's really the shared partnership between the support center here in Atlanta and our operators to continue to grow that customer engagement and loyalty.
That's fantastic. Yeah, so it sounds like, which actually was going to bring me to my next question, but I think we already touched upon it, which is up to what point is this experience owned by you, and how much of the experience is owned or driven by the owner-operators? And it sounds that it's really a partnership between the two to deliver that customer experience.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. So just thinking a little bit more about how to leverage new technology when it comes to driving all this innovation. So leaders like yourselves are looking or finding ways to innovate and using new technology and innovation to elevate their channel experiences, as we've started talking about. It's a very powerful way to differentiate a brand within an ever-crowded market. Deepak, from your point of view, when customers shop at Tapestry, right, they're expecting these very elevated experiences. I would love to know if you can maybe share a little bit more about the activities that are keeping you engaged, and how are you using new technology to empower the employees that you've already mentioned, and how do you ensure that innovation is driving these empowered high-touch customer experiences?
There's this new kid in the block called Gen AI. I'm pretty sure some of you may have heard. Everybody's talking about it. But before I get there, customers come into stores or they're coming on your website to get that experience and the product that they want. And our job is to really bridge that gap and help them make the right decision for themselves. So we don't have to have a returns problem, or we don't have to have a dissatisfied customer problem. Okay. Now, the path to get there with respect to omnichannel for me specifically is, from product professional point of view, I would always love to talk to as many customers as possible and understand what is that they desire. Unfortunately, that's not humanly possible. But I do have the opportunity of talking to my store associates and employees and store managers and field people to understand what is that the customers are looking for. But even then, with a chain or fleet of stores and several thousands of associates, it's actually not possible. And by the time we go through the traditional channels of feedback gathering, the information is probably stale. It's anecdotal. It may not even be relevant. It might be the loudest mouth is what we get hearing from. So how do we bridge that gap is what I've focused on. And what we've done is essentially create an opportunity for everybody to give feedback and leverage technology to synthesize that data and let the themes emerge from that data. That was not really possible. In past, you would have several rows of feedback coming in, and someone would be going and synthesizing it, and you would introduce human bias and other things. But now with the advent of Gen AI, you can literally analyze that in a fraction of a second and let it present you what you're hearing from your field, what you're hearing from your customers, what customers are giving you in feedback on product reviews online, and how can you leverage that to improve your product line, or where the service may be stopping short of their expectations. And that's, I think, is very, very powerful in terms of how quickly you can generate insights to drive that meaningful customer engagement.
That's fascinating. That's such an exciting project.
I feel blessed to have been, had the opportunity to work on it and really seeing some good success stories on it.
That's exciting. And hopefully I get to experience it sometime when I go into one of the stores soon.
Absolutely. It's not open to consumers. I'll be very honest. It's more about, learning from the associates.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to just have the experience through the people that would be helping me make the right choice.
Yes.
Speaking of new projects, Ali, I understand that CFA is also doing some great innovation and that you're experimenting with a new concept store. Can you describe for our panel or for our audience, what is the concept store and what type of interactions are you seeking to drive through it for your customers?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I love how you teed this up earlier. You talked about elevated customer experiences. So we actually just recently launched an elevated Chick-fil-A. And it really hits at the heart of physical meets digital. And so this is a new location. It's south of Metro Atlanta, and it's elevated. So that allows our kitchen to have twice the footprint of a normal Chick-fil-A restaurant for greater throughput. And then we've got 4 drive-through lanes that run underneath that building. So this location has the most drive-through lanes that we've had before. 2 of those lanes are dedicated for a destination called Mobile Through. And so this is designed for the customer that orders ahead on the Chick-fil-A app and really wants a quick, convenient experience. So they pull up to our restaurant, they can scan a QR code and kind of go through that fast lane, if you will. And then we just have 2 standard drive-through lanes. But this is a really cool restaurant. It's really interesting. It's got some conveyor belts too that drops food from the kitchen into the drive-through every 6 seconds. So that's much quicker than a team member could run that food out to different cars. So it's been a fun experience. The operator, Brett, and his team have been great pioneers in this space for us. And it's really targeted for that on-the-go customer. And we're really trying to solve those customer needs for those who are looking to move quickly and kind of want that quicker, convenient experience at Chick-fil-A.
So that's amazing. So if anybody lives in Atlanta or is traveling there soon, please go ahead and try to visit the concept store. Sounds fascinating. I would love to go. You mentioned, Ali, you're gearing this toward customers that are on the go, they want their food, they want it fast. Are there any other interactions that you're supporting through this goal? Like how are you envisioning this store or this experiment to foster the stronger relationships with your customers?
Yeah, it's a fair question. So, hopefully this location creates additional stickiness with our app and our loyalty program. just given it's very digital driven and digital heavy. But if customers still want that face-to-face experience, you've got that option through team members who are in the drive-through. But really it is designed for kind of that digital first customer who's been with our app, loyal to the app, and finds a lot of value in using that.
Fantastic. It sounds like a great thing to experience. Now, when you're innovating at the scale that you both mentioned, there's always unexpected learnings, like things that with all the great planning, there's always a surprise here and there. So are there any, or at least let's do something. Can you share one unexpected insight that you learned across one of your journeys that you can share with the audience today, maybe that they can consider as they're thinking about their own innovation and projects? Deepak, we can start with you.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Something that came in very unexpectedly, from the work that I've been doing over past 1 year. Several of you have been to stores, maybe Tapestry brand stores or other stores. How many of you have noticed the music that's playing in the stores? Probably not, but the level of subconscious impact that it has is tremendous. Now, if I expand that further in terms of an associate or an employee who's standing on that shop floor for several hours for their shift, it's a huge impact. We several times think about what is the motivation that someone has. Many times it comes down to how much money am I going to get? What kind of projects I get to work on? What is the collaboration, the team culture, etc. They're all important, but some of these minor and finer details are so important. One of the top things that I've learned is music, something that is so, in the background, but it's such a huge, huge, huge factor. The music change led to such a high rise in terms of the feedback that you were capturing, because it matters to them. When you're standing, it is a very important factor, that you are able to hear something that you can listen to versus it dragging your energy out. So I would say that was a very unexpected learning that I had, and attention to details is what this speaks about.
That's fantastic. Not only is it unexpected, but very positive, and it's positive not only for the end consumer, but also for the employees.
Oh, very much so. And I always believe it all starts with the employees and the team culture overall. And if you're able to translate the employee in terms of their satisfaction and their engagement, they'll move mountains to make the customer happy. And that is what is going to give the business results.
Absolutely. I see you nodding and agreeing with Deepak. Can you share your unexpected learning from?
Yeah, absolutely. My answer is not as fun. But, David said it this morning, it takes a village. I think that applies to innovation too. We had a really great panel earlier just about organizational alignment. And I think, it seems obvious, but that's something that's been very important to us and that we've learned through the innovation process, that communication is key. And so we spent a lot of intentional time being aligned as an organization. And we stood up a payments framework, and it's got different layers of leadership. It's a very cross-functional group. It's very intentional, and it's really helped us craft a way to communicate and to solve problems and to loop the right people in. And so we've got, our finance folks, treasury, our technology partners, legal, marketing, and we've got very regular occasions where we bring these groups together to talk about the innovative ideas that are going on in the business and how we can solve for that. It's really helped everyone be on the same page and stay aware and looped in. And that's been critical to having successful innovation.
That's fantastic to hear. So I know that we don't have a lot of time left. So I want to thank you both very much for coming in, spending the time with us, sharing all these great insights for our audience. For me, the bigger takeaway and something that is very inspiring is to hear that, we started talking about how do we help build stronger relationships with your end customers. And it's been so uplifting to hear that a lot of the ways to do that is actually to do it through your employees and your owner-operators, and how it is this symbiotic relationship and this environment that actually brings that omni-channel experience together. So Deepak and Ali, thank you so much for your time, and thanks everyone for our audience. Let's give them a big round of applause.